Fantastic. It worked. Didn't work the first time, so super happy. On the road again. Joseph Silva, great to see you again. Thank you for joining us so often. Appreciate it. Hello, paddling world. Kristen Thomas here again for SupConnect. It's Thursday here in Oregon. I'm not in California. I'm in Hood River, Oregon. Just got here last night. I'm camping, but some nice friends who have a house allowed me to be in the house. Blur, you're supposed to be here. We're missing you. Anyway, today I don't want to spend too much time babbling. SupConnect, thank you for letting me do this because we're talking to Jay and Anik Wild from Waterman's Landing and Tahoe Waterman. They do so much in for paddling in general, many paddle sports, but stand-up paddling they've been kind of in the whole time. Kind of started as pros, shop owners, started a nonprofit, coach and train, and have just amazing zest for life. So I'm going to see, let's see, she hasn't signed up yet. Hopefully we're going to get Anik on here. I believe they're at the store, which is super fun. Oop, they're not on yet. I might have to talk about them without, or we'll see. Oop, Tahoe Waterman, there we go. I didn't even, that's a different Instagram, but I love it. Good evening from Scotland. Hello, what time is it in Scotland? A little bit late. Thank you for joining us up late. Remember, these are live. Jay Manning. Oh, look it worked.
It's working.
Yay. It actually didn't go live immediately. I found the internet at a house here. You guys are at your store, yeah?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Oh, the birds are chirping. That's lovely in Tahoe. So, I mean, it's so hard to even know where to start. Both of you have amazing backgrounds. You've built such a life together. You've been such huge influences on the paddling world. But we always start with kind of just how you both got into stand-up. I know you both have athletic backgrounds, but where did stand-up, like, either one of you can go first, come into your lives first?
Go ahead.
Well, I can start with this one. Well, stand-up came to my life. I was a long-time paddler. I paddle flatwater and canoe and kayak in my hometown, north of Quebec City. So when the stand-up came to the scene, it was just a normal transition. It was just picking up a paddle, standing up instead of kneeling down. And that
You were were you a K1 or what was your specialty?
I did both K1 and C1, but then once Canada introduced canoe for women, we were one of the first countries to do it. I switched to C1. So, yeah, I was a C1, C2, C4.
Well, I don't know if you can see all the little hearts, but you're getting a lot of love.
Yeah.
And the brown blur says those wild folks are pretty cool people.
Natural progression to stand up on the water for me.
Did you see it, someone else doing it and thought you had to do it, or did you think that's kind of weird looking, or did your club introduce it?
I have no idea. How did we start it?
I remember.
You remember that? Yeah. Jay can take one because I don't
Okay,
remember.
Jay, you tell. So you both found it together, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. We had started with Anik's background. She was obviously, everybody wanted her to paddle for them kind of early 2000s when we first met, but she was just ski racing. And then the local Truckee Outrigger Canoe Club kind of picked up on Anik, and then we had just started kind of hanging out then. So I was like, I'll try that. And then that was in like 2004. So we started paddling outriggers. And then in 2008, I remember seeing stand-up paddling, and but I was still racing outriggers pretty heavily, and that was my main focus. But then I did the first race across the lake here on Tahoe. Phil Siegel was putting on that first one in 2008. So I had like a 12-foot soft top surf tech surfboard. I think it was 12 feet by like 24 inches wide, maybe, like full longboard style.
Ouch.
And I put like
That's a long race on that kind of board.
Yeah. And I remember, what was his name? Oh gosh.
Dave?
No, there was a couple guys had some Bark Unlimited boards. But anyway, so I did that race for the first time on that board in 2008. And then 2009 was still racing heavily the outrigger stuff, and that was my focus. But Anik and I just started playing around on boards a little bit more, and then Tahoe SUP came in the realm, and they started making a few boards, so we jumped on their team, and in late 09, and then 2010 I jumped on the Hobie team, and the rest is history there.
Yeah. You know, I don't think Tahoe gets enough credit for how early you were in. And there were companies there. There were people like you guys. They have had events, like you said, since 2008. We'll talk about events more, because how interesting that your first race is now a race that you guys run.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
How those things come around. But I also think of you guys just as two of the early pros, because you were in one of my favorite all-time ads, the Quick Blade ad. That was a little bit later, but it has so many people in it. I don't remember what year that was, but that was one of my favorite all-time ads.
It was 2011, because I was pregnant.
Yeah.
On that photo.
That's right. You were pregnant with Jax. Yeah.
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 Yep.
That was a long time ago.
Very cool. Love that.
It was not my best bikini bod.
No, it was authentic, right?
Totally. Yep.
Yeah. Well, again, what a journey you guys have had since 2008, since starting that and meeting each other, I guess, sometime before, and your backgrounds of being both athletes but also just bigger picture people, I think. You have some great philosophies about life and how you tie that in with the water and everything. I loved it ended with flow. I know different people have theirs. What's yours, Anik? So what 3 words do you?
Oh, it's grit, grace, and flow.
Grit, grace, and flow.
Grit, grace, and flow.
I just think what a cool combination of words, because they mean such kind of divergent things, don't you think? Like grit and grace, but to put those together is fantastic.
Yeah, so, it's very rare that you can get them all together. I think it's just little patching and sewing together those 3 things. But once you have it, things can work pretty good.
Yeah. So again, the journey hasn't just been water. You came together. You were just hanging out. You now have a 9-year-old son, right? Is he still 9? Or is he older?
Yep. Nope, 9.5.
Almost double digits.
Yeah, real soon, couple more months.
I have to tell you, as they switch decades, somehow that is for my kids who are ones in their 30s, it's kind of like, wow, it really, you look at that and think about life a lot. So you've had a lot going on through all that time. Let's talk about so being a pro and racing. Like, were you both on the same level with that? Like, let's both go to this race and that race, or did you kind of peak at different times with your interest with that? You still are both excellent racers, by the way, when you choose to race. Like, you guys don't get me wrong. They just have chosen to focus on some other things in life too.
Well, Anik, when we met, I mean, she was a professional skier and a very successful one. And she got, forced into retirement from skiing in 2010. As I was diving more into the stand-up racing side of things and picking up sponsors and, kind of, jumping both feet in. And I believe that, Anik, because she was forced into retirement from skiing with some head injuries and stuff, I feel like she kind of was just letting me kind of go with the whole, professional sup thing, and paddling and racing. I was really into it, and she kind of just let me dive into it more than herself, even though she probably would have been more successful than I did if she actually, would have been able to do it, as much as I did it. But she kind of took a back seat, and then, but still was relevant and doing the things that were, good for her soul and for the business. But, I was definitely more hungry in that regard. I wanted to race against everybody that was the best and see where I was. Anik already knew that, she'd been paddling for so long. She kind of knew where she could be. And I didn't have any idea. So I think I took it a little more serious than Anik did.
I agree. I think we did have that conversation at one point, as to when I was retiring from skiing. I mean, it was fun for 2 years before the business started, and then I became pregnant. But it was clear that I've had my chance to travel the world and be a professional athlete. So I was taking it definitely a little easier, and just let Jay live. You know, he had so much talent. Just let him live that life of glamour and competition and all that fun stuff that comes with
Glamour,
athleticism.
getting
Is so
rich,
glamorous.
right?
I know,
Right. Oh my
totally. Yeah, no,
gosh.
it's,
Yeah.
you're getting rich with experience, not so much of
Yes.
the money
Right.
part.
And
But
Yeah.
yeah, I was focused on growing the business right at that point, and I became pregnant in 2011. Um, so that just changed everything. But we kept traveling
yeah.
after that, and I jumped in whenever we could. And you know, there's plenty of photos of Jaxie at Battle of the Paddle, laying on the sand and eating sand and just sleeping in the sand. So yeah, we did a good job. But Jay was definitely the one that went after it.
Yeah. So the store came in. So the business, was it a business before it was actually the physical building? You guys are in a really cool spot. And anybody who visits North Lake Tahoe or Lake Tahoe needs to come visit Waterman's Landing. Um,
Thanks.
it was a really interesting, I mean, you were very generous and opened up whenever there were Tahoe races, like, you know, have a little party or something, and people got to see it. So I feel like I saw it a bit in transition. Wasn't it on, was it a national park, or you had some rules? You really had a bit of a challenge that was
Yeah.
unique. Tell us about the
Yeah.
store.
The store actually started in 2010 on the west shore of Lake Tahoe. A friend of mine, a friend of ours that owns a bike shop that's been around forever, Cycle Paths. He knew that we were in the stand up market, and he decided or said that we could split his bike shop during the summer months and turn it into half. It was an A-frame, old kind of Tahoe style cabin, and we split the A-frame, and it was bike shop, and the other half would just stand up paddleboards and stuff. And so that was 2010, the summer 2010, and you know, like we talked about earlier, the sup lifestyle is so glamorous, and you make so much money from it that we realized that the lifestyle that we wanted to live was within this paddling world, but you know, we were going to have to make moves in order to stick within that lifestyle. So having a shop of some sort was it was a blessing, but not knowing how to actually do that. But then 2011, this location became available. A friend of a friend of a friend kind of just said, "Hey, this place is going to lose its lease, and we think you guys might be able to fit it." And so we knew exactly where it was because Phil had been putting races on this location for a while. So long story short, we jumped on the opportunity, and we've been here for 10 years now, and just blood, sweat, and tears, and literally sleeping here all the time, just doing the thing. But we've created an amazing lifestyle for us, for our son, and for the community to come down and live our little Waterman mountain lifestyle, and having enough equipment here across the board, from stand-ups and prones to outriggers and surf skis, and then your simple basic kayaks. Just anyone can come here, one-stop shop, good food, coffee, retail items. You come in, you literally don't have to bring anything. You can travel in from anywhere in the world, and we can outfit you with whatever you want. And
which is so fantastic. It really is a huge service. We thank you. We need more places like this, because you're such a hub, like you said, and you reach out and know the community that are, like us, addicted to stand-up paddling. But then I stayed with a friend of a friend who totally knew your location and totally knew that that's where you get on the water, and that's where you can rent, and that it, like you said, you offer all these other things. It's such a great hangout. Your parking lot's always full. That's my only complaint, because you're so popular.
Yeah, well, I mean, the parking lot is not very big, and like you mentioned earlier, we are located on Tahoe Conservancy property, so it's a government agency, a nonprofit government agency that's protecting the shores of Lake Tahoe and providing public access. So they will purchase land on the lake and across the lake, and reinstate the natural vegetation and rotation basin for the water to filter from the mountains and the developments to go back into the lake. Therefore, that's why we're sitting on this beautiful 2 acres of lakefront property, but we only have 23 parking spot. The rest is just green space and, like I said, just big basins that will capture all the water from the mountain runoff and then just clear it up before it goes to the lake. So that is a little bit frustrating for certain people, but the neighborhood is all parking friendly, and it's part of our mission too to just provide public access and take care of our gigantic playground that is Lake Tahoe and keep it clean and clear as long as we
wonderful.
possibly can.
And I didn't know why, but I know your property is beautiful and it's absolutely worth it. There's plenty of parking across the street. So, if the lot is full, it's not a problem. I forget the name of that major street across the street that has tons of parking. And next time I'm going to have avocado toast. Somebody said it's the bomb. Gig. I don't know. It's funny, Instagram names. I wish this might be somebody we know, but since I don't recognize their Instagram handle, not sure who it is, but somebody's had your avocado.
And I agree, it is really, really good.
Somebody's had your lots of good stuff there and cute things. Look, I have my new T-shirt on.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Waterman.
Very good.
I got it last time I was there. Yeah. Cute. Darling shop. So we've got the store, we've got a child, we've got your relationship, we've got you both being excellent athletes. You also started a nonprofit. Tell us about that.
The Lake Tahoe Waterman Association. That's actually kind of how everything started. During the, like you said earlier, Tahoe was one of the early kind of regions to embrace stand-up, and man, the community jumped on it. And, we've got a lot of people in our community that, travel to Mexico a lot in the summertime and are water babies, if you will, but they also love to ski and snowboard. So, but when the stand-up thing hit and Tahoe embraced it so quickly, a lot of parents were going on the water and actually embracing the training lifestyle and the sup lifestyle and getting out on the water, and they were tagging their kids along. So being from Southern California and seeing the junior guard program and the lifeguards and just seeing, how that whole process works, and then coming here and realizing that, man, this big body of water that's very ocean-like, quite often throughout the year, there's, some things happening with this new sport of stand-up where there's a potential for some bad things to happen, so we wanted to create an environment where we can teach the kids just proper paddle education and water awareness. And obviously it was very stand-up focused at the very beginning, but it was to bring kids the understanding of how to play in the water, have fun, but also do it safely and with the proper foundation of mechanics, technique-wise, in order to prosper as a paddler, develop, but also stay safe. So that's how the Lake Tahoe Waterman Association started. And early days it was just a couple kids, but we've grown from there. We've had a big paddle team, that we traveled with from the kids side of things, and then. But now as those kids have graduated high school and moved on, our kids program has kind of dwindled in regards to the team, but we put on youth paddle camps, 5 of them a summer, and they're super successful. It's 40 kids. Yeah. It's 40 kids per paddle camp, the water grom camps. And, now we have a teenage camp as well. And, we go through the basics of every discipline that we like to paddle with the kids. So there's prone, there's stand up, there's outrigger, there's surf ski, there's open water swimming. We even do like some board rescue stuff. And so that's all through the nonprofit. Then we have also our paddle team, which transitioned from being primarily kids and now it's primarily adults. It transitioned from being very, very sup heavy to mainly everyone paddles outriggers now. But I make them paddle everything because we're a Waterman program. We're not a canoe club. So it makes it fun that way. And then also through our nonprofit, though, we're very environmentally conscious. We work with different organizations in order to help keep the surrounding area clean and Tahoe clean. And, there's a multifaceted that way.
Yeah, well, that's so fantastic. And I love that you've pivoted and just gone with as things go. I mean, we haven't had races. So you're saying like a kid's team dwindles when there's nothing for them to do, you know, and maybe there's more resiliency in adults or something, and of course changing where the sports are. But what you do with those 5 camps and introducing that many kids to all the aspects of water and all the watercraft is just so essential. I know when I swung by not long ago, you had added, I had no idea you had added Morgan's breathing and the underwater stuff, which is just so cool. There's just so many aspects to that. And one of our great concerns is love, much as we all love and are addicted to water, is safety is a big thing. And this brand new influx during the pandemic aren't necessarily water people and don't necessarily respect, like you said, Tahoe can be like an ocean, but not just, you know, weather and waves, but yeah, that's just such an important aspect. So starting them young is great. That you have things for all ages is fantastic. That you guys still are just such role models for how to do it. And I have loved watching. I love how you said that Jackson was eating the sand when he was a baby. You have just like had this great outdoor life example. Look, you can do it. We got our van. We got a kid. That's not stopping us. We're still going.
Yeah.
We're still doing things. Yeah. Are we going to get a Jackson sighting, by the way? Is he around there?
He's not working rentals
He's
right
working
now.
rentals right now. Yeah.
Age 9 and he's working rentals.
Yeah. It's a
Mom and Dad have an
family
interview.
business.
Go get to work.
Yes.
Yeah. Family business. So he's out there schlepping boards and putting people on the water and making sure the paddles are pointed the right direction.
He's a cutie. I actually stole one of your business cards because I love that photo shoot that you used on your business cards. And
Oh, thank you.
Prominently pictured in quite a few of those.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, he's a little cutie, and I was surprised to. I mean, it happens. That's the passage of time, and it's been a tough year and a half. But boy, did kids don't slow down, do they? He grew.
Yeah, believe it or not, he did.
He did grow, and thankfully
Still got
we
that
had this
shocking
space here. Yeah.
Yeah, white hair, but he has definitely grown and is like a little man now.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, you guys have you've lived the stand-up through most of its life and seen different things. Talk a little bit about, and please feel free to name brands and things. You've thrown a few out about equipment, what you use. You must just have a huge variety. And I know you do all watercraft, but just more focused on boards and paddles. And I know you have accessory stuff too, like what you think is important, what you've used through the years. Maybe also just like for somebody getting started, like some importance of getting started with paddling. So, but equipment wise, sorry, I threw a bunch of things at you.
We know how much it's evolved since, no, that's okay. We know how much of it's evolved from, you know, when it started and to what it is now. I mean, boards are just ridiculous, and trying to kind of stay relevant and, you know, as an athlete, but also trying to stay in the forefront of board design. That was difficult. Especially being in the mountains where, you know, our season is only a couple months long. And, you know, if I wasn't traveling consistently throughout the winter months, then, I mean, literally a couple months would go by and I'd be like, whoa, something else came out new. So the evolution has been, you know, remarkable. Maybe a little bit too much, you know, in my personal opinion, too much, too fast. Cause not everybody can get or can stand on 19, 20, 21 inch wide boards. So, you know, that whole progression, it got to a certain point where I was just like, well, I guess that's the direction it's going. Been just fun to watch, going from, you know, my first race in 2008 on a, you know, 12-foot soft top surfboard to, you know, now paddling, you know, a 404 14 by 22, you know, LTD, you know, it's like, or the you know, the dugout, or just that whole interesting to watch. And you know, I feel like you very lucky to be able to see it progress from what it was into what it is now. I find that you know, the sport it's a slow sport, so understanding how the dynamics of the sport actually work, how the craft actually cruises across the water is important for people. You know, skinnier and lighter is not always better for everybody. You know, it's there's a fun factor that needs to get played into it. And I mean, the old adage in this sport is if you're falling in and you can't get 100% positive strokes, then you're not going to be fast, you know, no matter what board you're on. So, and what board that's going to work for somebody that's been doing it for 10 years and super elite obviously is not going to work for somebody that's just getting into the sport, or even people that have been in the sport for 10 years, they're not going to stand on a 22-inch wide board and be able to be as successful as they could possibly be if they went 24 or 26 or something. So my advice is to stay humble, have an open mind, and test different things out. When we're selling boards, which has been few and far between over the last couple seasons, but my whole thing is just demo. I just have as many boards as I can with a wide range, so people can really test out. And I want a 22-inch wide board. Well, let's get you on one. Okay, you're falling off every single time. So let's try a 24. Let's try a 26. Let's try a 28. And then and also educating people on why a nose is designed a certain way. What's the bottom of the board do? Why the decks are lower on some and higher on others. It's just like a complete understanding, I believe, is important for everyone to get to grasp that, because we've seen it all, and we've seen what doesn't work, and we've seen what does work, and ultimately it's the fun factor has to play a major role into it. And then as far as paddles go, we've been with Quick Blade since 2009, from the outrigger standpoint and the stand up, and having a solid paddle in your hand. In order for you to maximize the performance of that rad board that you're trying to paddle, you have to have a paddle that's going to help you accentuate that performance of the board. Shaft stiffness plays a role, paddle blade size plays a major role, and then the length of the paddle plays a major role. So taking all those factors into the board that you're actually potentially going to be paddling that whole puzzle is fun to play with customers as they come in. And they all need to be taken into consideration depending on what the goals are for each person, right? The inflatable is a great tool as well.
Yeah, and just to emphasize what Jay's saying, this morning I had a lesson with a woman that bought an inflatable at Costco, and the email came up as Jay told me. He's like, this woman wants to learn how to stand up. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And sure enough, she bought the Costco inflatable. We inflated it to, she didn't have it inflated enough. We inflated it to the recommendation PSI, and it turned out that it was way too small. There's no way that this woman could have stand up on the board, but it was, experienced kayakers on Tahoe, since she was born and raised in Lake Tahoe, really wanted to get into the sport, but she took this route, then took a lesson with me. When it turned out, I tried a board and I said, there's no way you will be successful standing up. So we put her on one of our rental fleet, and right away she was successful in standing up and trying to paddle. And this is like us in many other places where you can try before you buy. She had the right state of mind when she knows at Costco. I'm like, well, you're gonna deflate it, roll it back in, and take it back in. Thankfully, she can bring it. It's a Costco purchase. Yeah. But yeah, it's so important, because this poor lady was so excited to get into the sport, but take time to see your local shop and go demo, talk to them, and it's so worthwhile.
Yeah. Yes, specialty retail, so important. I think more than in most sports for our sport, because people don't have a good grasp of, they just buy the cheapest one at Costco that's probably made for a kid, and it's not going to hold their weight or height or whatever it is.
A bicycle will
really
have
got to talk to someone. Yeah.
A bicycle will have wheels. They won't be square. You will be able to ride it. It may be heavier, but I feel like in paddleboarding, there's so many variant. In the water line, she was sinking the water line. I was like, there's no way. So.
And the safety aspect. When you buy that at Costco, nobody tells you to buy that PFD. They don't explain leashes. They don't explain water safety.
Yeah, and, it came with a leash, but she showed up this morning without a PFD. So I had to put one on. So, you're right about those safety aspect.
Yeah. So again, there's so many reasons. You guys have heard from both of these people right here, are experts and have so much knowledge to share. Please go to your specialty retail store near you, or go on a vacation to North Lake Tahoe and visit these guys, and they will help you out. Appreciate you sharing that.
I also
Along
believe,
those lines. Yeah.
Sorry, I also believe that building that is such a benefit to the customer, because they can go in and they can be like, hey, what's going on, Jay? This is what I got. How are the waves? What are this? Blah blah blah. Obviously waves depending where you're at, but it's just like having that community base, utilizing the services of the shop, you build that camaraderie, you build that relationship. It helps grow the community. When you buy not from a local shop, and I understand not all local shops have the inventory right now. I mean, obviously we don't, that's for sure. But I can refer. You can come in. I can give you as much information as possible and send you to a website that I know is going to be reputable, with a company that's going to be reputable. And that relationship that person has built with me or Anik, like that means a lot to us. And then when you show up in the parking lot and you're rolling down with, a board that maybe we don't sell, but that I helped you kind of guide you in the direction that would work best for you. And then you roll out with that, like that makes me feel really good. That relationship is strong. Ask me any question you want, and we're going to build off of there. Utilize your local shops. I'm a strong believer in that.
Yes. Well, you threw in another super important aspect, and that is the fun part of it. Racing is a piece of it. I think racing is fun, but there's so many ways to enjoy different watercraft, including stand-up paddling. Sorry, I know we're having a little cutout, so I don't know if you heard that, but talk more about the fun factor and how, because you guys do a lot of fun stuff, and you seem to work that into the camps and the training. Do you do coaching things too?
Yeah, lots of coaching stuff with my team. I'm coaching 10 sessions a week for my team. And it's across the board. We have specific mornings that are like an outrigger development outrigger morning and a development surf ski morning. We have OC6 in the evenings. We have prone and sup days. And then we do open water swimming. And then the weekly favorite workout is our Waterman workout, where we swim, prone, sup, and do some fitnessing. That's one of our staples. But I also help coach some outrigger canoe clubs in Northern California, and then do some personal coaching online for athletes as well.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's the coaching side of things. But as far as multi-craft stuff, like I believe they all help each other. A lot of athletes this year that have come from an outrigger background that are on our team, that I'm like, hey, try a surf ski. And they're like, and I'm just like, okay. And then next thing you know, they're leaning too far on their left side because of the AMA and the whole flipping over thing. And I'll be like, if you paddle a surf ski, you have to be balanced on your sit bones and, that rotation and stuff. And they try it and they're like, oh my gosh, this helps so much. So that's a good transition to help with your balance. And obviously, utilizing the stand up, you have to change the stroke because it's a slower craft. And then the water line's different, but then so that whole dynamic of how the paddle feels through the water with a longer shaft, and what you do with your top hand is different than blah, blah, blah. But it's all of them cross each other, and they help each other and make you a better overall paddler in whatever sport is your actual specific sport. Cross training with the other sports will help that. But I look at things like this. I want to be fit, strong, and skilled enough to be able to maximize fun with whoever I want to play with, right? So if I go to Southern California and we want to go sup surf, like I want to have my skills ready for being able to tackle whatever the waves are. If someone says, hey, Jay, let's go paddle Molokai, I want to be able to do that. Let's go to Tahiti and do this. I want to be able to do that. I just want to be able to never miss out on an opportunity to have fun in or on the water, no matter what craft it is. So if I'm relegated to one craft and I get invited to go do something, the suck factor is going to be way higher because I'm not going to be very good at it. So I want to be able to have fun in whatever I get invited to go do.
I'm going to be good. Oh my gosh. I think Sean Horrific, whoever that is listening. And I want you to I know you're busy with those kids camps, but you need to have like destination adult camps. I want to come to Tahoe and play and do all of that. And I think you've done a little bit. I mean, Anik, didn't you do a circumnavigation thing with a group? Yeah.
Yeah, we did it. We did a trial run last year with a group of ladies. And then there's going to be more to come. We've had that request a lot for adult camps. It's just, we realize what adults do once the kids and the wife, the husband, the school, the soccer, there's so much involved in the adult's life. It's really difficult to find timings and then find a good week to gather a decent group of adults to just go and train hard and have fun together. But now we had a successful circumnavigation and it worked well. So they, you keep looking up. We'll work on that for sure.
Yeah, and I was going to say, focus on my demographic, kids out of the
Yes,
house, but
out of the
still
house,
really
definitely.
active.
Yep,
We're the people who want to come to your camp. Like,
totally.
I don't know what
Perfect.
that
I hear
is,
you.
50 to 70 or something.
Good insight. Well, see, I'm 50 and I have a 9-year-old, so that's
Yeah.
You are not. Are you 50? I didn't know that.
January 2022 coming up shortly. Yeah.
Impressive. Yeah.
I'm not 50.
She robbed the crate. That's okay. It's all
Yep.
good. Well, even though it isn't all about racing, for me, it's where I found my community and my fun. And you guys now have, I mean, Tahoe kept actually, you did even during the pandemic, you managed to keep some of it going. But you have a whole series that people need to know about, and we need to get the word out. So talk about your series of races. There's such a great variety. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it seems like variety and mixing things up is a pretty big staple in our situation.
It's all part of the fun factor.
It's a part of the fun
Yeah.
factor. I mean, who wants to do, a 6-mile race every single time in the same conditions? Yeah, we have the Tall Paddle Racing Series. We inherited the Tahoe Cup Series from Phil Siegel, who started, the lake crossing and the paddle jam, and he did a great job. And he wanted to hand it over to us a couple of years ago, and I had already started helping, set courses and do some stuff while he was still operating it. But I think it's an important factor for people to remember is the community, the SUP world grew through SUP racing. Like it, and I don't know if it was a kind of a double-edged sword in a sense, but racing really was the catalyst for the growth of stand-up, I believe. And then, because everyone was racing, oh my gosh, it was just like, you'd see anybody on the water, they were getting ready to race or going to do their first race or training for their 100th race or whatever it was. And that really helped the growth, to a detriment at some point.
And it's so much fun too.
Yeah, and racing's just obviously super fun. But when, being that Tahoe had some of the earliest races in the world for stand-up, to see some of the races that potentially could go by the wayside was like, that was going to kind of hurt the soul. So, we took over the Tahoe Cup, turned it into Tahoe Paddle Racing Series. And we do 3 races a year.
Here's a sighting. Come here,
say
buddy.
hi, Jax.
Hey, Jax. How you doing?
How you doing?
I heard. Good. Heard you're helping out. You're doing some rentals?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we've been talking about you. All good stuff.
Thanks.
About how you've been part of paddling for your whole life, huh? Spent a lot of time on the water.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for saying hi.
Later, buddy. Get back to work.
Exactly.
So yeah, we
Great
took over the race series, and thank you. We have 3 races across the summer. Our first one is the Waterman's Paddle Jam, where we do a little course race out in front of the shop. We have a 4-mile short course and an 8-mile long course. That's your typical just kind of buoy type situation. A couple of years ago, we started the Tahoe Downwind Champs because, believe it or not, even though we live on a lake, it's a big lake, and we have big storms that come through, which produce really, really good downwind conditions. We're batting 5,500 right now. We had the first year was amazing wind. Last year was pretty flat. So, but we have that one late August. And then the big one is the lake crossing, 22 miles. We paddle from South Lake Tahoe to our shop in Carnelian Bay on the North Shore. And that's kind of the culmination of the race series. So we hit kind of your short course, lapped racing situation. We hit a downwinder, hopefully, and then we hit a distance race. So we got them all.
Very cool. And again, Tahoe is such a great destination, so it doesn't have to be just locals. So I hope the word can get out so that more people will get to those races, and something for everybody. Some people love the really long ones, the crossings, and kind of have their checklist. Are going to travel the whole country to do their Chattajack and do the, crossing and that kind of thing. So need to make sure that people know about that in just one of the most gorgeous places on earth. So even though you live in this gorgeous place and you also have connections in Southern California, where Jay's from, and are there places that you are still on your list of places you'd like to paddle or race or get to and spend time on the water? Where haven't you been?
Oh, that's a long list, really.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean I really want to do Chattajack, and you know, I've done Molokai on some sit down craft, but it would be great to be able to do it on a stand up someday. You know, to get to Australia, to be able to race over there, would, you know, it's definitely high on my list. And I don't know, man, I could keep going on and on and on. Yeah, there's some rad spots in the U.S. that I want to say hi to as well. But yeah, I think there's a lot of races out there I want to do.
There's so many beautiful places. I mean, I even saw some like cave. Oops, I dropped you. Some caves paddling and over in Europe or Croatia. I couldn't remember where that was. I mean, personally, I'd like to go race a little bit in Europe and do the NSC race in January, just because I've skied race there so many times. It would be kind of a different perspective. And then,
I would think
warm water. Yeah. Oops.
Anik, because you traveled the world both with skiing and in Quebec with paddling.
Yeah.
So there's probably places that you saw and like, ooh, I'd love to go back there and see how that feels on a stand.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, there are seasons of life. You own a shop, you own a very busy business, you have a son who's 9. So maybe you can't do these things now, but just I want you to know it's good to have those lists, and there is time in life to do those things, everything in its time. Again, I love some of in your bio, you had just some great, just really great perspective on lifestyle and being fit and being adventurous and being open and the flow and everything. It seems like you guys, I don't know if you work it into your coaching and you're working in camps and stuff, but you have a lot of good life coaching, I would call it, advice.
Yeah, I think it's just part of our life experiences and what we have been able to create here at Waterman's. It was kind of a crazy dream of running the shop on the West Shore and Jay and I having coffee and breakfast and dreaming of having our lakefront establishment where we could do all of this, you know, not having to cross the street and 2 parking lots to get to the water. And it happened. We dreamed big and we manifested it, and somehow reality. But it's, you know, I think from my perspective of being an athlete and always seeing the bright side of injuries and what you can learn, like we had some good life experiences, and it's nice to share it with everybody. And like Jay, you know, his fun meter and fun factor, you have to stay fit if you want to have fun. It sucks to show up somewhere and not be able to paddle or do a hike or a mountain bike. So to us it's important to share it with everybody. And I think Jay does a really good job too in his coaching and training program, where you have to be realistic and look at the individual's lifestyle, right? You can't train at, you know, an attorney 10 training session a week. It's not going to happen. It's going to be a major failure. So really adapting to your lifestyle and make sure that you could have as much fun and fitness as you can, and just have a good perspective and mindset about it. It's definitely critical.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So you talk so much about you guys are ready for any adventure and fun, and you coach and teach all these different watercraft, and it's beyond the watercraft, all the interesting things about the water. What haven't you tried? So we talked about places, but have you done some of the new offshoots, foiling or wing or any of that?
Sorry, you froze up on us. What
sorry about that.
What haven't we tried?
Yeah, wing, foil, done some of that.
We're working on that.
Yeah,
we're not there yet.
Yeah, I've dabbled in the foil stuff. I got lucky with a mutual friend, Chuck Patterson, who frequents Tahoe often. 5 years ago or whatever, when the foil thing was just starting, I called him and was like, you got to come up and bring your foils. Me and our friend, one of the kids that's been paddling with us for 10 years, Trent Carter, I was like, you got to come teach Trent and I how to do this. And, you know, so we took our jet ski out and he showed us how to do it. Trent was just like all in. I think he quit everything that he was ever doing, and now he's basically, you know,
he's sponsored in that, right?
Yeah, he's killing it. But you know, with everything that we have going on, it's a little bit further down the line on my priority list, even though I really, really enjoy the foil. And then the wing foil, I've done a handful of times, and it's yeah, I love it. I think it's fun. Like, yeah, it's great. I still have a lot of goals and ambitions to be a fast paddler on multi-craft stuff. So, you know, it's hard for me to get away from the training cycle. But it is also playful to me. So, yeah, the foil thing is definitely something I like. And I mean, gosh, I don't really know like what I haven't done that I want to do. I want to get, I mean, I think a huge bucket list thing for me would be to foil the Palolo channel. I've seen our friend Ryan Funk does it, and Zane and those guys, and it just looks like, I watch that stuff and I'm just like, okay, that's something that I definitely like. If they asked me to go do that right now, I would suck at it. Like, I wouldn't be able to do it. So that kind of frustrates me, because that would be one of the most epic adventures to, you know, paddle from Maui to Molokai and just surf bump all the way on a foil. Like, that's definitely something that's high on my list to do. So I guess I should start practicing foiling some more.
Does look pretty amazing. How about you, Anik?
I don't know.
Anything?
You know, at this point, definitely the wing, the wing surfing, foiling. I was windsurfing a lot back in the 80s in our little lake when there was, you know, a lot of wind. We wouldn't paddle our flat water canoe and kayak. We'd be windsurfing. So that definitely resonated with me when I saw it. And again, you know, running out a little bit of time to learn a new sport, it's a challenge,
Yeah.
but that's definitely, I think that would be in my radar of something new that I would do
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, the wing to me at my age looks very manageable, because I used
Yes.
to windsurf. And
Windsurf,
I
yeah.
like the idea of it if you have any feel for wind. And you
Kiting
actually
was
don't
not
have to
it.
be on a, I know the foiling's really cool, but you don't have to do it on a foil board. You can do it
Exactly.
on a mid-dagger board.
Yeah.
So it just sounds to me like a little, not as
Yeah.
much of a reach as the foil
Yeah,
thing.
the kiting was fun, and we tried a little bit of kiting at one point, but the equipment and the line and the launching and crashing your kite in the middle of the lake and not be able to recover it. But when I saw the wing foiling, I was like, ooh, I think that's definitely safer. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So you followed.
Well, right. And all craft in water and in different conditions, we all agree that we do love. But one thing that I think is special about stand-up is that it is so versatile and small and kind of manageable. So it really is this watercraft that's you're able to use in so many different ways. And we've talked a little bit about, you know, at that higher level, this strange situation we found ourselves in, where the Surfing Association of the internationally and the Kayak and Canoe, which you had been a part of, both felt we belonged with them. And I think they both have a valid argument. You know, we are standing on a board. Yes. We do have a paddle in our hand. Yes. So, but it felt so strange. And I think for people like you who started so early and have raced so much and have run races, to have these like kind of other groups that we don't know the people in them, you know, talking about our sport, you know, and I didn't feel like I had people representing us. Interesting.
I mean, I agree,
any,
but it's just to show. It's just to show how versatile a stand-up paddleboard is, right? And how much you can do with it when you have two major world organization in surfing and sprint canoeing that are trying to battle for this one board. And then if you stand up and then you start wing foiling, then if you stand up on the paddleboard, you definitely have board awareness and balance. So I think it just shows you how amazing the sport of stand-up paddleboarding can be, and how much everybody can do it, because you can find your cup of tea, you know, if it's a 30-something mile paddle or it's a subsurf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, I mean, if you're as into it as you said, like the multi-craft is just so fantastic. I think one thing that's special in the last decade, that we brought a lot of people to the water with a stand-up paddleboard. And actually in the last couple of years in the pandemic, huge group of people who are new, who lots of them did go online and buy, you know, inflatable, whatever. Maybe, you know, we hope they are doing it safely. We hope they found something that fits them. It would have been better if they went to a store, but hey, the stores were closed at the beginning, you know. But how do we translate that group into having fun, help them expand into some of these niche things? If they, you know, hopefully they love it. but did they, it's just wild to me that they found the water, and hopefully they will find, maybe they'll find an outrigger canoe club. Maybe they'll find, you know, introducing them to the love of water. Also, I think is good environmentally and safety and kind of what you teach like your kids.
Yeah.
It's great that people have found the outdoors, I guess, is kind of my
Yeah,
point.
they did. And I think that's why a shop like us and all little shops are a good go-to point in communities and the races where there's constantly paddle communities and races where you can actually offer guidance and safety and just a community of maybe more experienced paddler that they can discover and then grow from there.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
one
also
of your
important.
viewers here, oh, sorry. I was just going to point out there's somebody from Romania who has invited you to come visit, but also teaches meditation and water yoga. I mean, again,
Yeah.
that's a branch 10 years ago that people thought this isn't a thing, and it really is a thing, and it's
Yeah.
international.
Yep, it
But go
is,
ahead,
yeah.
Jay. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, that's all good. You know, you bringing up the canoe club thing, and we have all these people new to the sport, and how can they make sure that they're doing it in a progressive way that's safe? You know, I think, you know, what we've created is a unique opportunity for our community to grow as kind of just water athletes. And if I could help or kind of advise these canoe clubs or these more sports specific water clubs where they just focus on one thing to embrace kind of just the water lifestyle and incorporate more to their, you know, quote unquote canoe club, and allow, you know, people to come in and try and coach new athletes on the stand up, and have a little fleet of surf skis and have a little fleet of prone boards and just and you know, create an opportunity for these people to come to do it. It's, if I didn't create 10 sessions a week for my team, then you know, the people would only come to what they wanted to come to, OC6 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and, you know, Sunday sup day, and, you know, but if I'm embracing and saying, hey, you're a member of Team Tall Waterman, you get 10 sessions a week that I'm going to coach for you, and we're going to have sup, we're going to have surf ski, we're going to like everything I've already said. And I think there's an opportunity for other clubs to kind of take on our model and say, okay, yeah, it's successful for them and it helps grow the community over into the green constantly to mix it up. Like, you know, what we have here is unique, but it doesn't have to just be here. People can do it all over, and it's going to help the new influx of new paddlers into the community and keep them safe and progressing and trending in the right direction.
Fantastic. And yes, you do have an amazing model, and I would love to see it expand. Maybe you need to franchise it or something. Like you need another thing to do.
Exactly. I think any passionate paddler can create what we have created.
If they need help, just reach out.
Yeah, we're happy with what we have, and I think creating more centers like this that Jay and I cannot be on site and motivate and promote the sport would be I think it would be a different experience. But we're definitely, you know, open to anybody to ask questions and pick our brain and all the mistakes and the good things we have done over the last 10 years.
I think
thanks. So someone just said, love the Waterman vibe.
Oh,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah, we're here to share for sure.
But I honestly think Kevin Costner said it correctly with Field of Dreams: if you build it, they will come. If you create the opportunity and have the state-of-the-art equipment for the public, and they'll come. And hopefully you could just teach all the crafts the right way. That's the other hard part.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Right. I mean, you guys have an amazing knowledge base, but people can learn. And you also, as Anik said, you manifested having a place on the water, which water access is an issue in a lot of places, but I'd love to see more shared. You know, some countries have a better setup for that. You know, in Australia, everybody's a member of their club, water club, or whatever they call them there, beach club. It'd be neat if we had more places like yours in a lot more places that were like water and water access. Well, thank you for everything you do with the race series, with your shop, with good coffee and all that. That was really key, I think. Adding, and the next time avocado toast will be on the menu. With how much you share your passion and what great models you guys are on so many levels for being living life well.
Yeah, thank you for sharing us.
Yeah, thanks a lot
Yeah.
for having us on Sup Connect. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
no, appreciate it. I know you had a busy week and you're maybe going to be traveling. And Jay, I hope you're feeling better after your, like, you two and your injuries. But I guess being super active like you two are, that happens sometimes. Although when the wind and it's a tent, that's kind of a bummer.
That's just
Make up a better story.
That was
a better story.
That was something else telling me to relax.
Yeah.
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 Well, you're getting lots of thank yous. You two are
Yeah,
awesome.
thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
you
so
so
much.
much. And again, thank you, Sup Connect. This immediately goes to IGTV, so people can find it right away. But then it will also be on YouTube, Sup Connect, and on KT Outside. So thanks
Awesome.
for your time, both of you, and go visit Waterman, you guys. It's an amazing place with amazing people.
Thank you.
again.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you very much.
Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.